and one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between, to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
A tarnished of no renown woke from death by grace. He followed the welcoming light emanated by the earth tree and set his foot in the chapel of anticipation. The Baptist Zion ambushed the Tarnished. Godric often hunted Tarnished warriors to graft on his body, and this creature he sent to the chapel to harvest leaped and thrusted its swords at his enemy. But its abnormal power was no match for this experienced champion who lived and died as a great warrior. And so, with slightly upbeat steps, the Tarnished continued its quest to the earth tree.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on his side. We found him here, after all. One of his kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
A mysterious hooded figure saved them. Wondering who that could have been, he reached out to the door outside. The forest was still green in the region of Limgrave. The guidance of grace there pointed the Stormvale Castle on the top of the cliff. The Tarnished was a resourceful fighter. He took down Godric's soldiers one by one, and it was well past nightfall when he was done.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord.
The mysterious visitor's name is Melina. Unlike other Tarnished, this Tarnished did not have a maiden offering guidance. So for this sad maidenless, Melina proposed that she could be his maiden.
I can play the role of maiden.
She only asked for a single favor, bringing her all the way to that golden tree. She was born at the foot of the earth tree. Her mother inside the tree gave her a purpose and sent her to a journey. But she was burned to death, bodiless, forgetting that purpose upon dying. But that purpose given still lingered within her, reviving her soul despite being a lost purpose. So Melina had to go back to the earth tree and ascertain whatever that purpose was. The Tarnished had nothing to lose, so the deal was struck.
Then it's settled.
In return, Melina turned the runes he collected to strength and bequeathed them with a ring that lets him summon a spectral steed named Torrent. So the Tarnished, unlike those poor souls that had to run barefoot, he could show off his skills on horseback. A dragon came with a roar. So the Tarnished put up quite a show, just like an epic story. His journey was difficult, but he wasn't lonely. Soon, he realized Stormvale Castle was within reach.
Foul Tarnished. In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Margit, the fell omen. During the Shattering, it was told that he also took part in defending Lengdol despite being an omen. He became a hunter for those foul Tarnished, who dared challenge the Earth Tree in attempts to make themselves Lord. And even now, Margit was ready to destroy this new Tarnished, rid of his futile, foolish ambitions. With these feints and delayed strikes. How many shots have I taken? Yet he did not fall back. Rather, the Tarnished pushed back with quick slashes.
Thou art of passing skill. Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins. Tarnished.
Margit drew strength from the divine Earth Tree, dodging blows in just the nick of time. The Tarnished struck whenever he found an opening. And thus, the beginner destroyer has been felled.
I shall remember thee, Tarnished, smoldering with thy meager flame. Cower in fear of the night. The hands of the fell omen shall brook thee no quarter.
Leaving that ominous warning behind, the Tarnished arrived at the gates of this grim castle. The castle's front gate had never been breached. Its guard was up at all times. So during the dark night, he sneaked through the back entrance. To face the enemies of this wretched castle. Exiled soldiers that came with no end. Vanished knights. And a huge troll to top it all off. Then, it was time to meet the castle's owner.
Mighty dragon, thou art a true-born heir. Lend me thy strength, O kindred. Deliver me unto greater heights. Well. The lonely Tarnished, playing as a lord. I command thee, kneel! I am the Lord of all that is golden.
Godric, the first battle against the demigod, with crafted arms representing his lust, the wicked ruler of Stormvale. Godric the Grafted stormed the Tarnished. But it seemed like he didn't exactly plan what to do with that many arms. So the Tarnished caught that and exploited that weakness. So the cornered demigod took a decisive measure.
Truest of dragons, lend me thy strength.
In desperation, Godric grafted a dragon's head, and the powers conjoined to one gave what he dreamed of, power worthy of a demigod. But draconic powers, the Tarnished could also wield a few. So Godric's twisted lust for power was put to rest by the one he thought so lowly of. By one of the Tarnished.
I am the Lord of all that is golden. One day, we'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold.
And so, with the demigod slain, the Tarnished craft his first great rune. At this time, Melina thought he was fit to face the challenge that entails, and took him to a place for the Tarnished champions, the Table of Lost Grace, also known as simply the Round Table Hold, where a pact of non-aggression prohibited combat. He met the interpreter of the Two Fingers. The finger reader, Enya, told him of the finger's will,
and restore the golden order.
and upon this rare sight of a Tarnished who had obtained a great rune, the Two Fingers blessed him for his journey to come.
Demigods, tarnished, show no mercy. Have their heads, take all they have left.
This round table was also home to many that would aid his journey. The smithing master, Hugh, one of the misbegotten. He was a prisoner, trapped by the hold. Marika herself had tasked him with smithing weapons to slay gods. So he obeyed and enhanced the new champion's weapons.
Let's get smithing.
Another Tarnished that came to the lands of the past, Sir Gideon Ofnir, the All-Knowing, bid him as a true member of the Round Table.
As a true member of the Round Table,
And with the vast knowledge that he accumulated, he shared what he knew of other shard-bearers. And there were many more that reached the Round Table,
Will be worth your while.
so he could find a sense of fellowship here.
You are so very warm.
Well, thanks, you too. Then, through the passage that led him out of Stormvale, he arrived in the scenic Liurnia of the lakes. But the monsters there were not scenic at all by any means. But he endured with to-go boiled prawn snacks. And so, the Tarnished could reach the sealed academy, Rhea Lucaria, on top of the hill. The academy was once in itself a city of knowledge. But after Radagon had left the queen, Renala, the full moon queen was solely obsessed with the Ember Egg, or whatever was within that egg.
Beloved.
The academy was not pleased with this, and during the chaotic shattering, the academy rebelled and locked her away in the Grand Library. Now with its gates completely shut to outsiders, the legacy barely remained, and it had basically turned into a giant dungeon. Grim raindrops dripped from the champion's armor. Zombies that crave mana even after death. And the very weapon that halted Radagon, barrage of sorceries. Then the cancers that date way back to the dark times. The stupid dogs. Please. And off you go, mate. Despite all this mess of obstacles, he made his way to a companion of Radagon, the Red Wolf that fought with him. Must have spent some years studying magic or something. What are you, Jake the dog? The Red Wolf allowed the Tarnished no breaks whatsoever. But even in that mess, he kept his focus and channeled his inner bloodhound to strike back. Like so, with all the trials of the academy behind him, he entered the Grand Library to find the Carrion Queen.
Hush, little Calva. I'll soon birth thee anew, a sweeting, fresh and pure.
Beautiful, yet somewhat eerie. The Amber Egg the Queen held onto had powers that could birth people anew.
Bear this sweeting into life anew.
And with it, the scholars were continuously reborn. But this reincarnation was not quite perfect, so upon repeating that process, their memory faded into oblivion. Renala's juvenile scholars protected her at all costs. One argues knowledge is the greatest weapon. These scholars drew books, and Renala drew the scholars at the champion. However, he noticed that the singing scholars are keeping the barriers. So with AoE skills, he took the singing ones down, and once defenseless, she fell quite easily.
My beloved, have no fear. I will hold thee. Patience. Ye will be countless born, forever and ever.
Upon my name as Rani the Witch. Mother's rich slumber shall not be disturbed by thee. Foul trespasser.
send word far and wide. Of the last queen of Caria, Renala of the full moon. And the majesty of the night she conjureth.
Rani, who had vanished after her body died. Surprisingly, she was with her mother all this time, protecting her from danger. Resembling Renala, the full moon queen in her prime, Rani's apparition challenged the Tarnished. Mastery in glintstone magic and full moon magic that she created. Also, the powers to summon a dragon spirit, truly deemed her as a mother of many powerful demigods.
Thy fate lieth under my moon.
Against the powerful sorcerer, the Tarnished fought back with faith. And under the dewy moon, the champion once again triumphed in battle.
My dear daughter, weave thy night into being.
And so, from the amber egg that Renala held onto, the Tarnished obtained the second great rune. Where he headed next was a place ruled by the great general, the hero who challenged the stars. Radahn had control over Caelid. The scarlet rot that millennia left in the region previously had created a giant swamp of decay, twisting the creatures that called here home. And not even the most primordial could escape from this red blight. And only a handful of Radahn's army remained sane. They tried to cleanse the rot with fire, but with most of the wildlife rotten and insane, and abominations pouring from the swamp, nobody could make the lands of Caelid habitable again. The worst part was this: the very demigod who should have looked over the land, Radahn himself, was becoming mindless by the rot. So a comrade of Radahn who oath to deliver honorable death, Jaren prepared a final battle for Radahn and initiated a festival to find one worthy of succeeding to Great Rune, the Radahn Festival. Like so, many champions took the challenge to become a legend in Caelid. But none could put this mighty demigod to deserved rest. And Radahn soon was reduced to a beast, mindlessly devouring corpses, hollowly roaring at the skies. Galloping through the lands defiled in bloody shade, the Tarnished ended the miseries of all those suffering from the rot. After a long purge, he arrived in Radahn's Red Mane Castle and headed to the plaza to participate in the festival.
Champions! Welcome! The stars have aligned! The festival is nigh! General Radahn, mightiest demigod of the Shattering, awaits you! Champions! Prepare for battle! Defeat the General, claim glory, and grab that great rune! A celebration of war! The Radahn Festival!
With Jaren's dramatic speech, the festival began. Many warriors walked alongside him to challenge the general. And here they were, in the Crimson Battleground. Arrows charged with gravity magic, and clean-wrought knight spears back in the days of shattering. On horseback, the Tarnished summoned those fellow warriors, and thus the ode to the great general was written. Bravely leading others in battle, the Tarnished fought the demigod. But unlike his mind, his very might stayed unbroken. With each powerful strike, the warriors were scattered like leaves. More summons. Killed. Summons. Killed. As the warriors got up again and again to deliver at least one strike, it seemed like Radahn was at wit's end. Radahn disappeared mid-battle. Is it over? A blow delivered from a master of gravity magic. Radahn's magic skills were even with his strength. A true dominator of the battlefield. The fellow warriors with him had fallen, but he did not yield, for he wished Radahn to die honorably. The Tarnished fought for hours, and so, to this legend, a memorable end was delivered. With no one holding back the stars moved again after Radahn's death. With Radahn's fall, the Tarnished now had 3 runes. And now was the time to depart and reach the Earth Tree. Through the Grand Lift in the Liurnia region, the capital and the Earth Tree was at reach, as the champion reached Altus Plateau. To the tree, the very source of that golden light, the Tarnished rode on his steed. Despite all the attacks, the capital held strong to this day, and its soldiers tried to stop the invader. But against the mighty warrior, nothing could dare challenge the... can you just tell me where the exit is? With a more humble approach, the Tarnished defeated the tree sentinels and made his way into the city. On the outside, the fort seemed strong, but the inside was deeply ruptured, filled with those with broken bodies and hearts. A representation of the current state of the lands between. Yet the Tarnished had a purpose to fulfill. So with a sword as tall as his height, he slayed the castle knights and made his way on top of a dead dragon and on the top of a giant branch to reach the throne at the heart of the capital.
Graceless, tarnished.
What is thy business with these thrones? Godric the Golden. the twin prodigies, Mikola and Melania. General Radahn, Praetor Rykard, Lunar Princess Rani, willful traitors, all. Thy kind are all of a piece. Pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition. Have it writ upon thy meager grave. Felled thy king Morgoth, last of all kings.
Truth, quite unexpected. Who we knew as Margit the Fell was in fact Morgoth the Grace-Given. One of the hidden children of Godfrey and Merica, the twin brother of Mo. But only because he was born an omen, Morgoth was forsaken by his people in the tree. No one could have objected if he wanted to bring chaos. But when the shattering occurred and the city was at risk, he rose up and gave his all to be a protector of the Order. Since he had to hide his curse from others, he used Margit as an alias and fought off every single one who dared challenge the tree.
Foolish ambitions to rest.
He loved not in return, for he was never loved. But nevertheless, loved the Golden World he did. Now, casting his alias aside, as a true Elden Lord, the Grace-Given unsheathed his sword. With a rain of divine blades and tricky timing, Morgoth slayed the Tarnished countless times.
These foolish ambitions to rest.
Yet the Godslayer did not intend to fall back. And so, the two continued fighting in front of the throne. The throne stained with the Omen curse. Unlike Mo, he hated the curse of Omen he was born with. So Morgoth, with all his shame and rage, he swung his blade ferociously. The very power that protected the tree for all this time. The power bid for a lord. But visions of this world, broken and shattered, urged the Tarnished to fight back. And the battle of those two noble wills ended with the Tarnished rising as the victor.
Tarnished, thou art but a fool. The Erd Tree wards off all who deign approach. We are all forsaken. None may claim the title of Elden Lord. Thy deeds shall be met with failure, just as I.
The Earth Tree refuses all who approach. It was true. Even for the Tarnished, who intended to restore the order, the Earth Tree refused with impenetrable thorns, allowing none to enter. The silence of the Earth Tree as if it intended the world to fall. Even the Two Fingers did not expect this to happen, so the Two Fingers went on to consult the Greater Will. But to get an answer, no one could quite say that guidance is soon to come.
Of moons must first pass.
Meanwhile, somehow, Melina met her mother in the Earth Tree. She had remembered her purpose and approached the Tarnished with a new suggestion.
Hello again, old friend. Allow me a moment to converse with you. You were unable to enter the Erd Tree, no? Prevented by the mantle of barbs. The thorns are impenetrable, a husk of the Erd Tree's being that spurns all that exists without. The only way to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord is to pass the thorns. My purpose serves to aid in that very act. So I'd like you to undertake a new journey with me to the Flame of Ruin, far above the clouds, upon the snowy mountain tops of the Giant. Then I can set the Erd Tree aflame. Down the path to becoming Elden Lord.
O locus ille, betus quondum nunc diminuit, nos destinatem matribus nunc fiunturpes, ploravimus lacrima